Rahnwet na.
Bonway. Bonway. Bonway.
Rahnwet
Yes, ire oralapakan mesatan sum ang kabese yung
Rahnwet na.
Bonway.
Iyang kasilere, rokat hoka raspacho ng programa Rahnwet ng Tompe. Programa kabese iraka ko irakasang parakan, mawiyaw yaw na wing Tompe. Ariamo na chmapacho yun ang programa ipapacho ang walyan ti o ya acho sa karata kay paniyo wow, don manan wow arasoko and Tompe yu. Sa karawala pa ako bransanan kan. Wong kasabay maalagan, nanalap, nankanyikan. At chumawaw chorot, kasabay na chekat na wing Tompe. Karyangkat na speaker, fast speaker, chawakan ka sa Tompe legislature kaysa wong kasabay kong lagalap, o lagalap ka sa balyang bumuso, siya o government, o black chumawaw ang chunway unsa. Ipilmanan sa otro walyan kachino karas o sa galay kachonway masakon machay programa Rahnwet at asansalang kupamaykan na bachonway wankap sansal o deda mao meredang raylakan makonang mangi tabachongan au tabang Rahnwet aksocho kachon mangi sakon machay masal and bay sarawat. Hello Australia and welcome back to Rahnwet ng Tompe, a weekly radio program that shares and discusses topics of importance and interest here in the state of Tompe. I'm Cromwell and I will be your host in today's program. In this program, we will learn about the Convention on the Rights of the Child and General Comments number 26. And with that being said, please join me in welcoming our special guest for today, the committee members for the Convention on the Rights of the Child, Ms. Mikiko, Otani, and Ms. Nina Sluga. Here we also have Sir Cromwell Bacareza, who's the chair from UNICEF North Pacific. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. So to start, can you explain what the Convention on the Rights of the Child is in simple terms that our audience can understand?
First of all, thank you very much for this interview. We are visiting as a United Nations Committee on the Rights of the Child for the first time to Micronesia, and we are really learning a lot, though the visit is very short. And thank you very much for this opportunity to speak a little bit more about the convention or the committee and other related things. The Convention on the Rights of the Child is agreement among the countries. So the countries got together at the United Nations General Assembly and adopted this treaty agreement for the children. So this is agreement to recognize the children as a human being who have their own rights. And countries who join this convention have an obligation to respect and protect the children.
Thank you so much. How does the committee responsible for overseeing the Convention on the Rights of the Child function, and why is it important?
As I said, the convention is an agreement by the countries. So the countries promise to protect the children's rights. But it is not easy for any country because the convention recognizes a wide range of child rights like the education, health, nutrition, food, housing, birth registration, right to play, the cultural activities, children with disabilities, very wide range of rights. So it is challenging for all the countries to fully implement the convention. The convention created the Committee on the Rights of the Child to give the work for the committee to make sure to help the countries to better protect the children under the convention. So the countries submit the reports, send the reports to the committee, and the committee reads the reports and learn about the situation of the children in the country and invite the government representatives to come to Geneva and meet with them in Geneva and have a dialogue to ask questions, to find out what are the challenges in those countries and find a gap and make recommendations to the countries. And I just want to add one sentence because it is very challenging for the Pacific Island countries to send the representatives, delegations to the Geneva. So very often we meet with the government representatives from Pacific Island countries by online. So this is one of the reasons why we decided to come to meet with the government and also community people who are working for the children and youth and children themselves because we really wanted to learn about the situation in the countries like Micronesia.
Thank you so much. We have read about the General Comments 26. Could you clarify what the General Comments 26 are within the context of the Convention on the Rights of the Child? And why is the Comment 26 significant?
The General Comment, producing the General Comment is another work of the committee. So in addition to meet with each country and make recommendation to each country to better protect the children's rights, we also select some topics which is very important child rights and important for all countries, such as the environmental issues. So the committee decided to choose these environmental issues, the children's rights and environment, particularly climate change, and adopt the general comments. So the general comment is like recommendations or guidance to all countries. And why it is so important, significant, and the context is children started talking about climate change. They come to us to tell us that committee should make recommendations, guidance for all the countries because the children are most suffering from the negative impact of climate change in various ways. Global warming, heat, the more harsh weathers, or sea level rising, or drought, or floods, the pollution, and loss of biodiversity. So the children are feeling more, and actually children are more affected than adults. So this is the background of the general comment, and it is so important because it is affecting the children more than the adults, and also it will affect the children in the future.
Thank you. Can you provide some concrete examples of how the Convention on the Rights of the Child affects children worldwide or the policies of different countries?
There are many concrete examples. Firstly, the children, when children are born, the children have a right to be registered because it is the first step for the children to have access to, for example, vaccination, nutrition, education, health, all those services provided by the governments. So the birth registration is a very important common issue for many countries, and the children to grow up to be cared in a loving family environment. So this is also important. And also related to this, if children experience some abuse in the family, this is a serious issue, not only in the family, in the school, like bullying, or in the family, school, or outside. So the children should be protected from any abuse or harm. This is the also very common issue in any countries. So the committees ask the countries how these rights of the children are protected, what is the situation of birth registration, or how the children supported if they are not receiving the care in the families. So the committee makes recommendations, and very often recommendations will be reflected in the policies of the countries after we meet with the government and make recommendations.
Now we understand that your committee recently visited Micronesia for the first time. Could you share some of your experiences and your observations during your visit? How did you find the situation here concerning children's rights?
I just wanted to say it's an amazing learning experience for us. We do those works in Geneva, and as I said, very often we don't meet with the government representatives from Pacific Island countries because of your challenges to send the representative to Geneva. For us to know the real situation and having a better understanding firsthand, it's just a very short visit. However, already we met with the government department officers, UN agencies who are supporting the governments, NGO, civil society, community people working for the children, youth, children themselves. We met many children and learned a lot about the challenges such as you have 4 states with different languages, different cultures, and also I learned a lot that culture means a lot in Micronesia, and nature means a lot. Very much people's lives and culture are linked to this wonderful environment, and so the children, all children we have met, talk about the climate change, environment issues, pollution. They are learning a lot and think very seriously about their beautiful island and also about the earth. So it's so impressive for me.
We realize that implementation is a big problem. Committee makes recommendations, but in the context of Micronesia, where you have 4 states on such a huge geographical scale, implementation as such is much more challenging than, in a small country with good transportation. It was shocking to learn that you can't even fly from an island or from a state to a state without going really far and then coming back. So that is probably one of the biggest challenges. Not to mention that every state has a different language. So if you think about the structure, when you have the national level, then you have the state levels, and then whatever is adopted on the national level has to actually be also accepted and adopted and adapted to the state level in a language that they understand. Of course, it brings a huge challenge to implementing policies and laws that are coming from the national level, and that includes, of course, international conventions that are being ratified at the national level. So that is one big obstacle. On the other hand, there were some really impressive things that we learned. For instance, the care for the environment. We were really impressed to learn that there was a constitutional amendment. Was it in July 2023, if I'm not mistaken? And one of the rights that you included in the institution was the right to a healthy environment. And this is really also in line not only with the convention but with the general comment that we were mentioning. So it's a great opportunity actually also to link the amendment in the constitution with the general comment, which can actually help to explain and guide this right, because every right needs a bit of explanation. As such, it doesn't say much. You need some meat on the bone to actually be able to implement it. So it's a great timing to have amendment and general comment at the same time, so they can really work together very well. Then one thing that we also learned, which was, well, we already heard about it before, but we didn't realize it's so serious, is the issue of nutrition. Being here, we also understood where the problem comes from. I mean, a lot of the things have to be imported. There's a habit of not eating a lot of vegetables, for instance. I mean, no kids likes to eat vegetables, right? But it's very important for healthy development of a body, of a mind. So that really struck us as a big problem. Not to mention that, you know, fizzy drinks and soda is cheaper than water, so kids drink that, and then you end up with diabetes and amputations and whatnot. So these are some serious issues that we really hope that now that we've discussed them, they will be also addressed as the state and also at the national level, maybe with some sort of a policy that will really address this issue. And then of course all the policies that are in the works are being renewed, like the youth policy. We heard that there is early childhood development policy in the works. These are great news for us to learn that they're, you know, being developed, but we also really wonder and hope that there will be enough, you know, resources, because every policy is just words on the paper unless you implement them. So there really needs to be, I think, a lot of thinking about how to, if you adopt a policy, how you provide resources in terms of technical knowledge, finances, human resources to implement it. So I would say a lot of good news and challenges of how to implement them, like in every country.
Michael, first of all, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the generosity and the hospitality of the Micronesian people. Pohnpei has been my home for the last 5 years. The country has provided me with abundance of fresh air, abundance of nature, and climate change is a global phenomenon. If we don't do something about it, the nature, the fresh air and the biodiversity that we enjoy now may not be present for our children's children. So as part of UNICEF mandate is to work with government, alongside with CSOs, with NGOs, to ensure that this environment will still be available for our children's children. Apart from that, there are mentions of nutrition. More than 50% of children are suffering from obesity. More than 80% of adults are obese. And obesity can always lead to diabetes. And if you have high percentage of the population having these NCDs, it will increase the cost of government's expenditure on health. And with limited resources, and human resources, your number one resource, it will put a strain to the country's development. And UNICEF is working alongside with the government to ensure that nutrition aspects will be addressed. Another challenge we've been working together with, for instance, the Department of Education to have access for children to have access to early childhood education, which is really important at this early stage. Children who have access to early education will have better learning outcomes in the future. There are also challenges on water and sanitation, for instance. But I would like to reassure you that UNICEF, alongside with the Secretariat of the CRC and the CRC Committee, and with your government and with the people, because at the end of the day, it's not the responsibility of one person, or it's not the responsibility of one organization. It's not only the responsibility of the government, but it's a collective effort, joining hands to address a common issue, a common problem for the benefit of the children.
Thank you so much. Out of the General Comment 26, specifically related to Micronesia, what are the unique challenges and opportunities that this General Comment can address in the context of this country?
Thank you very much. It's a very important question because, as I said, the general comment is for all countries, but the context of each country is different. So maybe it's not for me to say which part of the general comment 26 or how the general comment 26 is specifically in which way specifically important for Micronesia. I really hope that people in Micronesia learn about the General Comment 26 because it says many things like pollution, biodiversity, climate change. Of course, climate change, biodiversity is everywhere for everyone, and pollution, different types of pollution is happening in various countries. But this is my hope that you find how this General Comment 26 is significant in which way to Micronesia. I have already observed, such as we already heard from the children themselves. They are concerned, for example, about the pollution, waste, and heat, warm. We also heard this morning about the impact of climate change on food or water. Or we also heard about overfishing, for example. I think the people in Micronesia, together with the children, youth, and government and community people, will find how you can use General Comment 26.
Thank you very much. General Comment 26 is a reminder to clarify what are the responsibilities of the obligations of the government that signed the agreement. What's important for Micronesia, because we are a small island nation. We are a big country composed of small islands, and in the event of climate change, the small islands are the most affected. We are in the El Nino season, and those outer island atolls are the most vulnerable. They don't have water. They don't have their crops will be affected. So the General Comment 26 put emphasis on the environment and climate change, so that those people who are living in the far-flung islands, who are hard to reach, will also be protected. Especially for FSM, we have like 607 islands and islets, and most of them, some of them are inhabited. Those people living in those islands are very vulnerable. So one of the factors that why General Comment 26 is important to Micronesia, because you will be affected. Although you have very low carbon emissions, at the end of the day, you burn the brunt of the effect of climate change.
Thank you. What issues and challenges prompted the need for the General Comment 26, and how does it aim to address these issues?
So the context is, as I said, the children started talking about climate change in a vocal way. So the request really came from the children's request, children's activism, children's concern about climate change. And one key word I'd like to use here is urgency. So the General Comment 26 is for us, the committee, to respond to the concern of the children. They are feeling, unless international community as a whole, all countries and the United Nations, if we don't act now to stop the global warming, it will reach the point that we cannot go back anymore. So it will affect, of course now, but also the future, for the future children in the future generations and children's and children. So the children are feeling really that this is their issues, and they are also concerned not only about themselves but about the children in the future generations. So how we should react and how we should use the general comment, it's I think, as Chief of the UNICEF said, it's a common or joint responsibilities. We have to do in every way, like committee adopted the general comment, so now it is also our responsibility how to use this general comment 26 and make sure that this general comment is known by all the governments who are responsible, but not just by governments, but also by all the people, children, youth and parents, and they take some key messages from the general comment and act in their own way. And but the keyword in my view is urgency. We really have to work together, and committees will do in our own way, meeting with the governments and ask how the governments are actually reflecting our recommendations, guidance in the General Comment 26 into their actions and policies. But it takes time. So I really hope that each country, governments and people learn about General Comment and use it to change the policy and make impact on their national policies and maybe individual actions and behavior as well.
Maybe just to add, an important element of the general comment is also empowering children to learn, to be informed, because this is the only way you can make an informed decision. This is the only way you can act as a young person. You have to understand what your rights are, you have to understand, when you talk about environment, what it actually means, what it constitutes, if it's in a constitution, for instance. So an important part of the general comment are also the so-called procedural rights, which basically means the children have the right to be informed. So when the committee adopts concluding observations, this is how we call our recommendations. The children should also know what was said there, of course not in a technical language of UN, in a child-friendly way, and these are things that could be discussed at schools, for instance, you know, what the responsibilities of the government are coming out from the review. Another thing that is also emphasized in the general comment is the right to participation, and that really starts very small. I mean, it can be discussing things with your peers or school clubs, maybe discussing them with the parents, but you know, little by little it gives children, it empowers them. And then of course one of the participatory rights is also access to justice. And we've learned about a very impactful case that was here in Micronesia using the CRC. But it's a very good example of how actually children that are empowered and are informed can really say what they want and act and protect their rights. So hopefully general comment will also support them in this way.
Thank you. How does the committee go about developing the general comments to assist? And what is the process like for creating these guidelines?
When the committee decides one topic for the general comment, we firstly announce this decision. Now the committee is going to draft new general comment on this topic. Because the general comment adopted by the committee is the end result of the long process. So of course the general comment and what we say in the general comment itself is very important, but also the drafting process is also very important. We really want to involve as many people as possible, in particular children and civil society. So that is why we announced the decision to make, now we start drafting general comment, and we also publish the draft general comment so that people can make input. And this time for the general comment 26, we, together with the civil society, made public consultation twice. Firstly, after we announced we are drafting general comment. Second time, after we already prepared the draft general comment, and so that people can share their experiences and inputs. So the over 16,000 children from 100, how many countries?
It was for sure 120
120 or something, if I remember correctly, 117, I guess. Children participated, mostly online, but also through some consultation, the national level, country level, or regional level, or even local level. One very unique feature of the process for this General Comment 26, the committee was supported by Children's Advisory Team, which is composed of 12 children who are selected to help the committee's drafting process, providing their inputs, their ideas, also helping the committee to make this process known to many children around them. And also the committee invited the countries, governments, to share their comments on the draft, because we really also want to get the countries involved on board. So I would say that the whole process of drafting General Comment 26, it took 22 years, but this process itself is a huge movement to raise awareness about the importance of this issue, climate change, and also its relation to the children's rights.
Thank you so much. What are the expected outcomes or benefits for children and societies once the General Comments 26 is established?
So the benefits comes from actual implementation of the General Comment. So this is why we really have to work hard to make sure that firstly, all the governments know about General Comment 26 and digest, because it's a very technical document with a lot of UN languages. This time also some special languages about environmental issues. So firstly the governments need to understand and really reflect the recommendations, the guidance from the committee into their policy and actions. But also I think the children can benefit directly from the General Comment 26 as a learning document and also as a material for their own learning about the climate change and how they can also participate in the discussion about climate change. And also through the General Comment 26, children can learn about children's rights, because it's not, General Comment is not about climate change or environment. It's about children's rights in relation to the environment issues or climate change. So as my colleagues, Ms. Sluga said, it talks a lot about the children's right to get information or to participate or to have access to justice if their rights are violated. So all children's rights are actually explained in the context of climate change and environmental issues.
Thank you. What are the next steps after the establishment of General Commons 26? How does it influence policies and practices worldwide?
So the committee, together with the civil society, NGO, and the children, we had an event in Geneva in September this year. It is called Global Launch, to announce this General Comment 26 to the world. Now we are busy. The committee has 18 members, and each one of us is busy to talk about General Comment, invited to speak at some workshop with children, or UNICEF is also helping us to make this General Comment 26 known. So there are many regional launch, country level launch, local launch, and this is what we are doing now. And also we use the General Comment 26 when we review the country's report to ask how the governments are actually using this General Comment 26. And also like COP28, the chair of the Committee on the Rights of the Child is going to participate in the event organized by the UNICEF and to discuss about the General Comment 26 together with the children, hoping that General Comment 26 will have the impact on the discussion at the global level, such as COP28.
Thank you so much. For our audience who want to support or learn more about the Convention on the Rights of the Child, how can they stay informed and get involved?
This is the first time for the committee member to participate in Micronesia. We don't want to make this just a one-time event. I really hope that this is to show that we really want to learn from you, and also want you to be connected with us. So I hope that people in Micronesia know that we always welcome any questions or communication from you, and if there is any need for the help which we can provide, we are there. So this is how I sincerely feel, and my final word about the Convention on the Rights of the Child or the children's rights. This is of course for the children, but to respect the children's rights and protect the children's rights is really for the, first of all, of course it's for children, but also for the society as a whole. Each society is a people, and people start with the children. So to learn about the children's rights and use or practice children's rights as adults. All others have some connection with the children as their parents or teachers or elderly in the community, relatives. In many ways, we are connected to the children. So I believe it's so important for all of us to learn about the children's rights and respect the children. So, but maybe our colleagues want to share some thoughts.
Yeah, no, I would just add, because you were asking where to find more information. OHCHR has a web page dedicated to the Committee on the Rights of the Child. So there you can find everything from the convention itself, general comment, child-friendly version of the convention and the general comment, not just this one, but all the previous general comments, state party report, reports from civil society that are published. You can see our schedule of the upcoming reviews. So really, I would invite the audience to take some time and visit our webpage of the CRC on the 08CHR webpage and get familiar with our work and see the documents and share them among themselves. That would be a good way to get familiar with the work of the committee from afar.
My message to your avid V6AH fans and listeners to remember easily 3 A's, A. A is awareness. Be aware of what are your rights. And this information is available online through the United Nations websites, the UNICEF websites, and other UN agencies. And if you're aware of your rights or other people's rights, then you can take action. If for a young student, if you see someone bullying, you need to act. You need to make the invisible visible. You report. If you think that there is abuse in your neighborhood, you make that known. So once you know your rights, you'll be able to act. So that's the second A. And the third A is advocate, because some people may not know what their rights are. So once you are aware of the rights and you can act on it, you can also help advocate for it.
Thank you so much. My last question to you is there anything else you would like to share or any takeaways you think that our audience should understand about the Convention on the Rights of the Child and General Comment 26?
Hope, because I have observed, I have witnessed the people in Micronesia, in particular children, are really concerned about the climate change issue. Through the General Comment 26, I hope that children learn, of course, about the climate change issues, but they are already learning about climate change. So my hope is through learning about the General Comment 26, they learn about children's rights and feel confident and also empowered. And I hope that also adults around children learn about the General Comment 26, and again through General Comment 26 become aware, using my colleagues, one of A, start working together with the children and also learn about the children's rights. This is really my hope. And just add finally, I want to emphasize this year, 2023, is the 75th anniversary of the adoption of Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So it said every human being is equal, and each human being, adults or children, women or men, boys or girls, wherever they are born or live, with or without disabilities, or every human being is equal. So I think the Convention on the Rights of the Child really represents this spirit, because children are also equal, same human beings as adults, and we as adults need to recognize children as a right, as the person, human being who have rights and need to be treated equal. And also children learn children learn about their own rights and also learn how to treat others. I think it is very important foundation for the peaceful society. Thank you.
The children are our now and our future. Protecting their rights allow them to live in an environment where they can thrive and achieve their dreams and live to maximize their human potential. So that's why the CRC is really important.
So thank you so much for your time. This concludes today's program. Karangan laban ko kurang
Thank you.
karos. Thank you all for tuning in. Sa perpetual duplicate ko purakan. Agad sa bari Sage Radio. Also perpetual program ng Rahnwet ng Tonpe mabambacho damo. Karangan o kasarelya.
Thank you very much, Karanao.